Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'd fully intended today to do a weekly watches for you, but when I looked at the 5 poultry movies that I had watched in the last week, I thought there's only one movie really here that I can talk about, possibly two. Just to give you an indication what I've watched in the last week, I'll pop a little picture here. So the top 5 movies on that list there. I'm going to talk to you about The Girl with the Needle, and we'll touch briefly on The Surfer. Hellraiser, we don't need to talk about Hellraiser. I did a video on this. We went to a screening of Fright Club Northern Ireland showing the original Hellraiser, which I very much enjoyed. So nothing really to add to that. Was it last night, the 14th, 2 nights ago, I watched Fountain of Youth. This is directed by Guy Ritchie. I'm not a fan of Snatch, Lock, Stock. It's just not my cup of tea. It's not my kind of thing. But I was attracted to this for the cast. We have John Krasinski, whose surname I cannot say, who I really like, and what's his name was in this with a bald head, who I really like as well. Can't remember his name. I'll put it in later. I'm a disgrace. This was an attempt at an Indiana Jones movie, down to, they like called a couple's child in this Harrison. They called the surname something after like the place where Indy was from or something. They at the beginning, John Krasinski's wearing this like 3-piece brown suit and these like round tortoiseshell type glasses, exactly like Harrison Ford was wearing in that famous scene where the girl's in the classroom and she's something written on her eyes, which I can't remember what it was. Was it Rude? Well, whatever. Everything is a very clear play on Indiana Jones. It's called Fountain of Youth. It's about John Krasinski's character and his sister, played by, I'm terrible, let me just open it up and I will tell you. Natalie Portman plays his sister. Is it Elsa Gonzalez plays the bad guy in this? Bad girl. So they're basically on a quest to find the Fountain of Youth. I had to switch this off, it was so bad. There was nothing wrong with the acting, there was nothing wrong with, everything looked really good. The plot, the story was just paper thin. It was terrible and it was a big fat waste of my time and I switched it off. The other one is Ash. I also didn't finish this one. I'm getting a lot less patient with movies these days. Again, it looked fine. There were some nice little effects in this. This covers a woman who wakes up on a spacecraft, or is it a spacecraft? On a distant planet and finds the crew of her space station viciously killed. Now, that sounded interesting to me. I thought it was painfully dull, to be honest with you. Maybe I need to give it another chance. I'm not a big fan of sci-fi, so I don't think that's helping matters. But anyway, those two I would avoid at all costs. Even, you know, Fountain of Youth, John Krasinski, you're going to think, oh, it's bound to be good. It's not. It's terrible. The Surfer, Nicolas Cage. It's no secret I love Nicolas Cage. This movie, I think you would get much more on a second viewing from this movie. We follow Nicolas Cage's character who's returning back to where he grew up as a boy, near the sea. He loved to surf. He very clearly has a fixation with his childhood and wanting things to be like they were back then. He feels that if he moves back, it's going to solve all of life's problems. He wants to buy the house that he grew up in. It's come up for sale and he's working with an agent to try and buy it. A group of young, mostly men, have taken over the area and they will only let locals onto the beach to surf. Obviously, Nicolas Cage's character has somewhat of an issue with this. These guys are real bully boys, really nasty pieces of work. And this is about, basically, he's having a falling down day. And everything that can go wrong in a person's day goes wrong in his. It's exceedingly frustrating to watch. You get angry on his behalf. You're raging like you would imagine Nicolas Cage should be raging, and he does gradually build up to getting just, he's had it. There's a little bit of sort of like, what way would you put it? It's a little bit dreamlike in places. I was absolutely convinced in this movie. There's a character who is like an old guy that hangs around the parking lot where it's mostly based, where he's parked his car. I was absolutely convinced for the entirety of this movie that somehow this old guy was Nicolas Cage later in life, because it was like the same person. And when I did that afterwards explained thing, it wasn't. And it's sort of like, I'm like, how could it not have been? But it's the only thing that made sense. That's not a major spoiler, guys, because I was wrong. I do feel, having watched it and knowing everything that went on now, I would catch more on a second viewing. So I will watch that one again. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Nicolas Cage is brilliant. He always is. I love him. I do see that a lot of people are probably going to be quite disappointed by this one. But if you're a Nicolas Cage fan and if you enjoy a good handed-in performance and you're not expecting too much to happen in the way of plot, then you could enjoy this. I think I will enjoy it a little bit more from a second view. Once I can get rid of that fixation that I think somehow he becomes this old man. I was just fixated with that. So the one I wanted to talk to you about is The Girl with the Needle. I'm looking to the side because I'm opening up my Letterboxd. So The Girl with the Needle is a film I became aware of from watching Spooky Astronaut's channel. Emma, she's from Australia. If you're not aware of Emma's channel and you're a horror fan, 100% I direct you over there. You will not regret it. Spooky Astronauts. I think it's not. So she quite often does videos where she will just talk about a lot of really disturbing movies. They will usually be horror, but not always horror. Things that has flown under the radar that you maybe have missed. And this is the case for The Girl with the Needle. So The Girl with the Needle is not a horror movie. It's like a drama, historical kind of thing. It's based on a true story. So it's set in Copenhagen in 1919. It is Danish, so you will have to read subtitles. So a young worker finds herself unemployed and pregnant. She meets Dagmar, who runs an underground adoption agency. A strong connection grows, but her world shatters when she stumbles upon the shocking truth behind her work. Now, I can tell you a little bit more about that without it being spoilery. This young woman, her husband has been to war. He has not returned in a year. It's one of those cases because there's no body. She cannot get the widow's pension because they haven't found him, but he hasn't returned. She's stuck on her own. She's trying to work. She's not making enough to pay the rent. She's put out of her place where she's staying at the beginning and into this hideous place. We follow everything going wrong for this young woman. And she ends up getting involved with her boss at the factory. Now, by all means, he seems to like her, and I have to sort of tell you this to set up the story for you. He does seem to like her, and they become involved together. And the upshot of that is she becomes pregnant, which is where the whole palaver starts. So we need to sort of discuss that. But this guy's very well to do, and his mother is not very much appreciative of her son getting involved with this woman for a start that's still married. They don't know if her husband's alive or dead. She's not of the right type to get involved with. She's poor. It's not something she wants her son to be involved with. She doesn't want him involved with the baby. Obviously, she had foreseen this different life for herself. She thought things were going to go right for once for her. The guy had said he would marry her, but he turns out to be mummy's boy to the top degree, and he leaves her because his mummy wants him to. This starts off the story, so to speak, where she now finds herself penniless, jobless, because she loses her job because obviously she can't go back to work for this guy. You know, the mother sacks her, and she's pregnant, and it's 1919. She's got no money, no job, nowhere to live. What the hell's she gonna do? The movie is called The Girl with the Needle. I will let you come to your own conclusions. And in the midst of her desperation to sort herself out, to sort out her situation, she meets this woman called Dagmar, who takes her under her wing and basically takes her in, and she helps Dagmar run this adoption agency where basically women that have babies that they can't afford to keep would give the baby up for adoption, and she would facilitate them by placing the baby into suitable homes like doctors, lawyers, all sorts of people. So this is where she gets involved with Dagmar, but she finds out that what she's working with, this adoption agency, is not what she would expect. Now, I'll not tell you any more than that, but this is based on a true story. This is shocking. There are a couple of scenes in this that are hideous, that are horrendous. Knowing that it's based on reality makes it even worse. It's not a horror movie. We're not talking anything gory here, so don't think that for a second. But if you enjoy something that's implicitly well acted, that feels like nothing you've seen before, that, you know, culturally it's showing you a different country, it's showing you a different time period, it's putting you into the shoes of these women whose husbands have gone to war, who find themselves alone, who end up in situations where they can't support themselves, there's no help for them. It's grim. It's a grim movie, but it's excellent. It's very, very good. I would thoroughly recommend this to you guys. As I say, don't watch it as a horror fan expecting to see horrible, nasty, gory things. That's not what I mean by disturbing, but it is a very, very disturbing, fantastic movie. For the real movie fans out there amongst you who just love movies without differentiating genre, I would recommend this 100%. The Girl with the Needle. When I heard Emma talk about it, and it's one that I'd never heard of, I always take Emma's recommendations because she is always spot on, and she was again in this case. So massive recommendation for that one. As I say, The Surfer, I did enjoy. I would enjoy it more in a second watch, and the others, no. Ash and what was the other one? Fountain of Youth, waste of time. Hellraiser, as good as I remembered it. So that, guys, is what I've watched in the last week. I'm still watching bits and bobs on telly. I've started a series on Netflix called Department Q, which is getting really, really good reviews. It's a Scottish like crime cop whodunit kind of thing, and it's shaping up rather nicely at the moment. So that's what we're watching. So let me know below what you're watching, if there's anything you would recommend for me to check out. Let me know if any of you had seen The Girl with the Needle. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts. And I look forward to speaking to you next time. Over and out from Lisa Lives.